Yeah. Cue all the comments. Lego, you're a closet Sabres fan. You're always talking about them. I don't care. What we're talking about here in this video is the absolute worst thing about the Buffalo Sabres this year. And when you talk about how bad the Sabres have been, there are so many ways we can go down and actually dissect this conversation. We can talk about goaltending, we can talk about defensive play, we can talk about individual players, we can talk about contracts, we can talk about management, we can talk about ownership, we can talk about a lot of things with the Sabres in terms of how they've been, quote-unquote, bad. But what I wanted to focus on here is a little bit more relating to the Jack Eichel thing. And I'm not talking about trades, I'm talking about the fact that Jack Eichel has been sidelined for an extended amount of time despite already playing a significant portion of this season. Now, Jack Eichel, if you go over the numbers, the guy has suited up for a total of 21 games for the Buffalo Sabres. He's got 18 points. Now, he's got 2 goals, 16 assists. We know he hasn't been scoring any goals this year, but Jack Eichel's made the headlines earlier in the year by not suiting up for a few games, being taken out of the rotation, being deemed with an upper body injury. However, yesterday we had word from John Warrow that Jack Eichel cracked at least one rib during a shooting drill at the Harbor Center just before the players reported to camp. Now, if you don't know, a cracked rib is a big deal, and it hurts. For most people, and I'm talking about you and me, you know, the random individuals that you see walking down the street, not the professional athletes, best in the world hockey players. For normal people, when you get a cracked rib, that's going to affect you for weeks, dude. It's going to change the ability that you have sneezing, just kind of walking and getting up. And when it comes to a cracked rib, they can usually heal on their own in about 1 or 2 months, according to the Google machine. So for Jack Eichel to go through just an absolutely terrible injury in the upper half of his body that no doubt would hurt a heck of a lot more if you're going out there doing physical things like doing training camp and actually playing hockey, which is a physical sport where you're banging bodies and you're cross-checking guys in front of the net, kind of trying to take guys out of the boards, trying to open up space for yourself. That's a big deal. And so for Jack Eichel to be in a spot with a cracked rib, playing some form of hockey, because hey, if this happened right before training camp, I mean, there wasn't any preseason. We kind of just got things going and up and away very quickly for the NHL this season. Does this mean that Jack Eichel was playing a good bulk of this year's worth of hockey, recovering from a cracked rib? Firstly, that kind of explains some of the lack of goal scoring, the production, why he's looked quote-unquote off by some of the Sabres fans watching this guy play his hockey. Maybe it's not because of a lack of intent and a lack of intensity in his mindset and the overall engagement for the game, but because the guy's out there with a cracked rib. You could say, oh, players have played through cracked ribs before. They're going out there, they're getting shots in their bodies, they're taking drugs, painkillers and all that to try to go out there and play. But even still, you know, a cracked rib changes the way you're able to move your upper body. And if it's gotten to a point now where he needs to be taken out of the lineup, my question is, why the heck was he even in the lineup in the first place? The Sabres started off this season with 1 win in 5 games played, and then they won a little bit, then they lost 4 in a row, and then they lost like 7 in a row afterwards. This team was already so bad. What was the point in keeping Jack Eichel in here, probably prolonging the amount of time it takes for him to recover what is a cracked rib, and potentially damaging this guy's ability to play in the short term, maybe even in the long term, depending on what happens? The fact is, the way they're going out there, just playing guys as they come, even though he's recovering from a cracked rib, we're going to go out there, we're going to play you an average of 20 minutes and 30 seconds a night. That is a lot for a forward. It's right up there with Sam Reinhart. And in fact, this isn't even a new story. You have the number 1 minutes guy on the Sabres right now as Rasmus Ristolainen, aside from the goalies, of course, because they play 50-plus minutes every single game. That's kind of how the goaltending works. Ristolainen is playing 22 minutes and 34 seconds a night. And you take a look at what exactly this guy's been through. He recently recovered from the virus, and it put him in a position where, according to, here's the quote from a Finnish news article translated into English via BuffaloHockeyBeat.com, it hurt him to walk up the stairs in his own home. And he experienced new symptoms every day. He kind of felt better a little bit after a week, but then things came back with some weirder symptoms. When he came back, he said, yeah, I feel really good and all that, which is why he was taken out of the lineup for a month. But what do you do when getting this guy who has been just a minutes-eating guy taken out with this disease, putting him in a position where he is absolutely just tortured in his own home with this illness? You go out there and you start playing him over and over again, 20-plus minutes a night, like nothing has happened, like you didn't just take a month off because this guy was A, recovering from an illness, and B, trying to get his body back into shape. And he's a -3, -3, -3, -2 in all these games that he's playing. What's going on with the distribution of players and the playing time of these guys? Is it easy to take a look at Jack Eichel and say, oh, he's a world-class athlete, even though he's got a cracked rib, we're still going to play him because he's Jack Eichel and he's just that good? Well, for Jack Eichel standards, he hasn't been great this year. Why was he not pulled earlier? For Rasmus Ristolainen, why is he in a position where he is still playing so much when his contributions on the ice are negative? He's going out here playing over and over again after just recovering from an illness that pretty much disallowed him from walking up his own staircase at home. And acting like nothing ever happened. Oh, he took a month off? Great, you're back in the lineup, 20 minutes a night. There you go. And it's not like I'm going to sit here and say that Rasmus Ristolainen can't handle it. That's a separate idea, in my opinion. What I'm saying here is, even if you're playing this guy with all these factors that have gone against him, he's still performing poorly. Why is he still going out there with the distribution that he has? Is it really because Colin Miller and Brandon Montour are that bad? I didn't really think they were that bad when they were in other teams. What's going on here in Buffalo, man? Jack Eichel is out, and I hope this guy doesn't come back for a long, long time. Give him the proper recovery time to fix a cracked rib, dude. If it's still bothering him, and this was something that happened before the season started, why did the Sabres wait so long and perform so poorly while waiting so long to pull the plug and say, okay, we'll let you take some time off and heal your cracked rib? You know? It's kind of why I'm getting kind of angry about this, because it's so unfair, I think, to treat, first off, your players like this, and secondly, kind of sends a different message to your team in general, right? I get that Rasmus Ristolainen's average ice time could be jacked up because he had those 28, 27-minute games earlier in the year, but still, he's out here getting played top-line minutes, 23-ish minutes a night still, and he's out there as a -3, -1. He has a +1 game and a 0 game, but that's about it. I get that even strength plus-minus isn't the be-all and end-all, but it certainly is a factor at the very least. So, what gives? Take a look at this game over here, just one example. Pittsburgh-Buffalo 5-2 the other night. Rasmus Ristolainen, 23 minutes and 1 second. Brandon Montour right behind him, 21-12. Is Colin Miller really that bad that he deserves only 15 minutes of ice time? This is a hockey team over here. Everybody's supposed to have the backs of the ones around them. If somebody's in a position where they're not really doing all too great, hey, send somebody else out, try to get a substitution in there. That's how rotation works. And for me, it just looks like, for the Sabres, the rotations have been so weird that we're even making a video here talking about injuries and, like, the virus with Eichel and Ristolainen. So, yeah, we're deep into the rabbit hole here now, boys. Talk to me in the comments what you thought about this video. Hope you enjoyed this. Visage Rolls 99. And bye.